Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now, here's Jay.
Hey, here's Jay. Now, if you can see Jay, here is drheckham.com. DRHECM for Home Equity Conversion Mortgage, although I think of it more as a program than a mortgage, okay? That's our first visual share today. Here is our second one. The phone number that you can call me anytime you want and talk about almost anything, 866-955-2233. But if we don't talk about things, we don't learn. That goes for both of us. Now, today we are going to try to learn from our guest. And here is what I have. Chuck Salisbury. And, this isn't exactly what I was going to show, but this Salisbury is made from Chuck. And the one we're going to visit with is Chuck itself, okay? So welcome, please, to the Educated Retirement Radio here on KMET, where we will discuss retirement and how to best contemplate retirement, how to best prepare for retirement and stay that way. So today we will be joined by Chuck Salisbury to discuss the greatest invention in the history of mankind. Or at least that's the way I think Chuck is going to put it. So we're going to give him his time, and we'll let him speak to that. And please, please feel free to join the conversation, either later when he's on, or at the connections that he'll be giving you. And don't forget my information either. But call in and ask Chuck some questions. 951-922-3532, 951-922-3532. Especially if you're stuck on the freeway, use the car. We used to call them car phones, remember? But use it if it's a speakerphone. So it'll take your mind off of some of that traffic. So don't forget my contact information. Call me, email me, or visit www.drheckham.com. And for those of you that like things a little bit longer, the educatedretirementradio.com, or just email me, bestloantoday@gmail.com. Be sure to jump over to the YouTube channel link. That's about halfway down the first page. There's a lot there, including all the shows here on KMET, separate segments of the guests without me. What a refreshing thing. Anyway, as well as some more interesting short snippets and things to look at. So the website itself is very, very extensive. Don't get overwhelmed. Just pick the items you want to learn about and learn. There's a place that says start here. There's a place that says contact me. Let's just talk. There's no way to know unless we learn from each other. So remember, just email me if you want, bestloantoday@gmail.com. So remember, today we're going to explain how an art teacher, Jerry Mahoney, invented the artificial human heart and the disposable razor. We're also going to find out how Attack of the Puppet People is related to the Kennedy Center for the Arts. And my voice is getting a little weird. I don't feel very bad, but sometimes I sound strange. So, big deal. When I sound strange, I guess that matches the way I look. But in any case, do I have a day job? The loan source. I am a loan officer. My NMLS, which is the National Mortgage Licensing System, Jay, start over. 384565, 384565. And my number for the Department of Real Estate is 792-630. And there's no real special whatever today is. There's some good birthdays. Okay, but not, today. So we're going to go back to what we started as a tradition here on KMET last week. And that's we're going to make another day out of today for future generations to celebrate. So that makes this pretty important. So while investigating information on the birthday of Sherry Lewis, we discovered Paul Winchell. And Paul Winchell, somebody I didn't get too excited about while he was around, but now that I'm reading about him, he contracted polio at age 13, and while resting up, he saw an advertisement for a to become a ventriloquist kit for 10 cents. So he asked his art teacher by the name of Jero Magone, if he could get extra credit should he create a dummy. No, not me, a dummy. He named it after that art teacher, Jerry Mahoney. So Jero Magone to Jerry Mahoney. There it is. Other than hosting the Paul Winchell Show in the 1950s and 60s, he was a pre-med student that became an acupuncturist, then a medical hypnotist with 30 or more than 30 patients. And they both start with P. What do you want from me? He invented the disposable razor, flameless cigarette lighter, an illuminated ballpoint pen, a retractable fountain pen. That's pretty complicated, but anyway, battery-powered heated gloves, and he was one of the first to have patented an artificial human heart. Yeah, I said that correctly. Artificial human heart he has a patent on. He did that along with a Dr. Henry Hemlich of the Hemlich maneuver, fame. So Dr. Robert Jarvik, though, is the guy they like to say was the inventor. But Jarvik's got some things to say about Jerry Mahoney and Paul Winchell, but he's got nothing to say about me. So therefore, this is the National Paul Winchell Day. So mark that down. And of course, we have Sean is our engineer and sits on the President's Cabinet for National Days. So he will be registering this day as Paul Winchell. So for that, I guess we should take a break, see if my voice comes back around. And enjoy yourself. I'll see you in a few minutes. All right, well, we're talking about fishy. I was hearing there on that last advertisement. There is nothing fishy about reverse mortgages. And the only way to find out is to talk about them, to open yourself up to what choices you really got. So welcome back to the Educated Retirement Radio here on your home planet of 1490 KMET AM radio, the Mighty Met, and the worldwide webinar and podcast and videocast. Remember, www, the Educated Retirement Radio, or www.drheckham.com. Call me, 866-955-2233, 866-955-2233. So now when it comes to people's birthday, I discovered somebody else's birthday that we didn't seem to get to. So we're going to get to her, I'm sure, next week. This is Carl Laemmle Sr.'s birthday. Now, if you forgot who he was, he's responsible for Universal Studios. Remembered kind of specifically for a lot of monster movies, because we love monsters. He was born in 1867, and he earned his wings in 1939, and is responsible for, well, here we go. He was the producer of such silent classics as Phantom of the Opera in 1925, with Lon Chaney Sr., Hunchback of Notre Dame, 1923, Cat in the Canary, 1927, and the 1916 production of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Now, his son was Carl Laemmle Jr., Laemmle, whatever you want to call him. I believe Laemmle Jr. And he was responsible for such sound classics as Frankenstein and Dracula, 1931, Invisible Man, 1933, the best of them all, the James Whale-directed production of Bride of Frankenstein. You know, Bride of Frankenstein is the first film that I know of that actually has a soundtrack that was composed specifically for it. And we can get into that another time, because time is precious. Yet countless other Universal classic monsters, many with Lon Chaney Jr. So juniors, this is an example of juniors working with juniors and seniors working with seniors, exactly like this senior working hard to be able to work with other seniors to educate on the many more choices that we really have. So please, let's think about that. Who else's birthday is today? Sherry Lewis, 1933 to 1998. And I really remember Sherry Lewis from when I was an urchin. And yes, I was small, believe it or not. So her, you know, she was a ventriloquist also, and her dummy, or puppet, was called Lamb Chop. Now, Lamb Chop is such a cuddly word, isn't it? And sound. But it's a bit confusing, too, because when I was young, one of the only real adult foods I loved was eating lamb chops. So, is it just me, or does it seem, you know, you've got cuddly and you've got want to eat it? I mean, is this traumatizing kids? Well, I guess they weren't. Just me, maybe, made an effect on me. So speaking of puppets like that, we saw Attack of the Puppet People with John Agar the other night. And, you know, John Agar, he was in one good movie that I remember. And that was Tarantula. But he's always got this grin that's so, I don't know. It's a blank-eaten grin, and it's always there. Or, like my old partner used to say, smiling like a possum eating blank through a hairbrush. In any case, that's him. But that was also Universal, I think, if John Agar. I'm not exactly sure, but John Agar was also in one of the Creature from the Black Lagoon, the second one, which was far worse than the first one. But in any case, he was there. So Sherry Lewis first appeared on Captain Kangaroo. Do you remember Captain Kangaroo? How many people do? Sean, do you?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Now, he wasn't my favorite. He wasn't like Engineer Bill, because Engineer Bill had trains. But, you know, we know of Captain Kangaroo. So she had her own show from 1960 to 1963 and was a guest of so many others. She won 12 Emmys, a Peabody, a John F. Kennedy Center Award, 7 Parents' Choice Awards, among others. And I'm compiling my list of awards. I'll let you know next week or so. So she learned ventriloquism from a John W. Cooper who was with the Southern Jubilee Singers, and he was known as the Black Napoleon of ventriloquism. So now here's another one, tongue twister maybe, for some of us in the West. Although I'm very familiar with this person for many years now, since I guess not that many years, probably the first film I really recognized him in, as I've seen this guy before, was The Host. But he's the favorite actor of Bong Joon-ho, and for Bong Joon-ho, he has been in such movies as The Host, which is considered by many critics as the best monster movie of all time. And the monster, of course, isn't exactly who you think it is. Snowpiercer, which was done in English with an all-star cast, including Captain America and so many others. And I hear they're going to do a television series now, HBO, on Snowpiercer. Again, it's the haves against the have-nots. Memories of Murder, I have not seen, but I have read lately that the person that committed those murders has recently admitted it, and that's a big deal for those involved, including Bong Joon-ho. His current film, Parasite, is incredible. I think I mentioned it once or twice already, and definitely should be seen. It's up for several Academy Awards, I think 6, but, you know, best film, best director, best screenplay, among others. And who did we forget? We forgot Betty White. And since there's so much to talk about Betty White and so much coming up on the show, I think we better maybe just separate her for a whole future show, because she appears to be going to be around for a while. So on that note, let's take another break, and I will go ahead and put my Salisbury steaks back into the refrigerator. And speaking of heroes, I would like to be one of your hometown heroes, and so would Chuck. Chuck is with us now, but we brought him on a little early so that it would rush me along and finish up this day in history here on KMET 1490. You're listening to the Educated Retirement Radio. And just to keep my marriage together and things like that, we're going to finish up what my wife put together about this day in history and get right to Chuck. 1929, Popeye the Sailor first appeared in a comic strip. The comic strip was called Thimble Theater, which I never heard of. And in 1933, Max Fleischer adopted the Thimble Theater characters into the Popeye the Sailor cartoons. Fleischer Sr., of course, was Walt Disney's competitor, and Fleischer Jr. directed Disney's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. That was a remake of the one done by Carl Laemmle Sr. So again, more juniors and seniors. The darker and more mysterious side of Superman, which I remember as a kid, was done by Fleischer Sr. I don't know if you remember those, but usually, you know, Batman was the darker one. Superman was the, the sunnier, lighter one. But when it came to those Max Fleischer cartoons, they were very, very mysterious and dark. So, just to show you, too, that was The Host that we talked about earlier. And the Northridge earthquake happened on this day. Now, were either of you people around in Southern California when that happened? And I'm speaking. Huh?
I caused that earthquake.
Okay, and Sean, 94, you were alive. Come on now, don't tell me you weren't. No, Sean is having...
You know what? I was actually in Vegas when that hit, Jay, and I didn't really feel it.
Wow. You ran out on us to have fun.
We'll try and do another one for him. How's that?
All right. You know, that was a 6.7 on the Richter scale, 4:30 a.m. I thought it was bigger than that, but it wasn't. Killed 57 people, and 8,700 people were injured, including my mother. And it was the largest California earthquake was actually in Parkland, California. And that was an 8.0. But I also remember the Landers, 1973. You know, and that was a 7.3. I don't know. Does it take an earthquake to get people to open up and understand what a reverse mortgage really is? I was with some past clients yesterday, and they told me that they bragged about how great the reverse mortgages treated them. And they say their neighbors are simply deaf to hearing anything they have to say. They're still hearing things like the bank takes the house, and they want to leave something to the kids. And of course, the bank does not ever own the house, this or any other kind, and the kids can help preserve their legacy. And I kind of cut you off, Chuck, because I don't want to make it seem like I want you to talk about reverse mortgages. I want you to talk about what you're here for. And then if you want to put in something about that, I appreciate it. But we're really here to hear, you know, what you have to say and what you have to contribute to the rest of us. This is one of Chuck's books.
Yes, sir.
And first things we're going to do is have Chuck introduce himself, give you all of his contact information. And he's going to do that a couple more times, and then you'll always be able to find it here with me. But go ahead, Chuck, and, you know.
Thank you very much. I would be happy to introduce myself because I'm more familiar with myself than a lot of other people. So I know something about me. And for example, my phone number. Sometimes I actually give out my phone number because people have a pen and pencil in their hand and they can write it down. Usually that's not the case. So you're right. Saying it a couple times is a good idea. We start with the area code, which amazingly enough here in Orange County is 949, which is a good place to start. So if you get through that 949, you can go on to the next phase, which is 910. And then if you want to finish it up and actually make a complete call, 6028 would get you all the way home.
And of course, even though you're in Orange County, you do your work and spread your word nationwide, actually worldwide, right?
Well, I don't know if I spread my worldwide voice any further than you do because you're on the radio.
Well, I mean, but you travel around a lot.
Oh, I do travel. As a matter of fact, and this is interesting for some people, and particularly you because you know about it, but I just came back from Hong Kong, was there for a conference for a couple of days talking about life settlements, which is the main topic of my book, because for 3 years I wanted to do a book and introduce the #1 investment in America. That book introduced the #1 investment in America, and it's called Life Settlements. Most people never heard about it because it is an institutional product. It's up
this
to
book, correct?
Boy, I think, did I spell everything right there? It looked like everything spelled right.
Must is.
Yeah, that's good.
Must don't sound right.
Well, you know, sometimes I make mistakes like other people, but that's my second one of the year, so I'm okay. But everything is spelled right, and Life Settlements, which is easy to remember, is what I talked to the people about. There was a 2-day conference in Hong Kong, about 1,000 people, and since they never heard about life settlements.
Really? Wow.
And they speak English because it used to be a British colony, we communicated in the same language. But I'll tell you what really got their attention. You won't believe this. What really got them attention and got me an invitation was the 12% rate of return fully insured. Now, it took me a long time to digest that because I spent 22 years in the securities industry doing muni bonds and corporates, and I couldn't believe it when one of my clients told me a friend of his was getting 12% in an investment that was AAA rated, or not rated because that's not necessary when it's fully insured. Now, it took me a while to check it out, but that is the truth. And even you know how to spell life settlements.
Well, life anyway, I've seen it now. I mean, I don't know about settlements, but life I can do. It's only 4
because
letters.
It has not been settled yet, but you are still living.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I mean, I know that I personally can guarantee you're still alive. So this is not a pre-recorded message. This is
okay. Good.
Okay. Anyway, let's talk a little bit more about life settlements other than just the yield. 12% sounds good. It could be 12.5, could be 11.5, because a life settlement is a portfolio of life insurance policies. Now, I represent another group called Coventry Direct, and everyone sees them advertising on television all over the country.
Correct.
And they do. They have a couple elderly people about my age, and they talk about
their... come on, they're younger. You know, everybody's younger than us.
Well, they are younger.
I mean, there's elderly and there's ancient, right?
Well, see, they have makeup, though. They have makeup.
Sorry.
Makeup people makes them look younger, you know?
Okay.
I can tell right now you don't have a makeup person working on your face.
No, you can tell I can't afford a good makeup person, that's for sure.
But I've never tried to count your wrinkles. But the last time I was thinking about it, I said it would be a very long process. And
I think you need an advanced math degree.
I think so, or
to be able to go to that many powers out there.
60 computer or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, as an unusual product that no one's ever heard about, there is a benefit that everybody needs to know before I get off the air. I decided I want to tell them the benefits, because most people listening to your program are people that think about retirement. I don't know if it has anything to do with the age, but they have retirement accounts.
Well, they should be thinking about their retirement all along. Unfortunately, I didn't, but you know how fast time goes by.
So that's the reason you got this gig, you know?
Yeah.
You got a radio show late in life, so they don't pay you as much. And that's okay, but it keeps you busy. And
that's very important to stay busy.
What your wife said. She said, I don't know how to keep him busy, and this obviously is the best choice for you.
Yeah.
So I'll go with that. But here's a benefit for anyone that has a life insurance policy, that knows about life insurance policy. Do you know that you can buy your life insurance policy as an investment and put it in your retirement account? And the one thing you get in writing, you know exactly what the yield is going to be to the penny. And the nice thing about a 12% rate of return, if you leave it in a retirement account, it'll compound. Your money will double in 6 years. I didn't make that up. It's a fact, mathematical fact, the rule of 72. Have you heard about the rule of 72?
I wish I were 72.
Well, I wish too, because then you will have a longer trouble.
But yes, I have heard of that.
Okay, it's a rule that we use in the securities industry to designate how long it would take for your money to double. You take 12%.
Right.
Figure it into 72. How long would 12 go into 72? 6 years. So then you know that your money will double.
And how about when you go to the bank and put it there at 0.5%?
Okay.
We don't need to do the math, do we?
But if you put it in the bank at 0.5%, the money will still be there when we die.
Yeah.
Still trying to double, but it is probably double 1 to 2, that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
When you know you're going to retire someday, the most important thing is to have a retirement account that's worth some money, because unfortunately, that's what we missed. You told me that. You see,
yes.
your retirement account, a lot of people the same way. They don't even keep track of their retirement account. They just look at the statements every so often and said, it's not growing unless it's in the stock market.
And then that doesn't always grow, does it?
Well,
it's a good bet, but that's the overall stock market.
It's the thing
you have to pick what part, and a lot of people don't pick the right things.
The right stock, absolutely. You pick the wrong stock, it could be going down when the market's going up. So there is risk involved in the stock market. I've always known that, and I participated in it. So,
yeah, I mean, the stock market could be going way up, and as an individual, you could be going down.
And you could be losing weight, and I could be gaining it, which is what I.
That's a deal. Can we do that?
You're more than facing retirement. You're facing a slim zone. I know because you said you're on a diet, and so
yeah, that means I eat everything I can find. So yeah.
Well, the one thing that you'll never get is a thin return on life settlement, because at 12%, you're going to keep growing and growing. Mm-hmm. 6 years, that 12% will turn those life insurance policies, which, by the way, when we say insured, a life insurance policy has never defaulted. The only default is if you don't pay the premium. That's the only. Right. So,
and as far as them paying off, I mean, insurance companies do pay off. Right. If an insurance company fails, the insurance company is insured, and those companies that insured insurance companies, they're insured.
Yes.
So you're going to get your money.
You will get your money, and it will grow. And by the way, how do you know? Because they give you an illustration. Before you make the investment, you'll have an illustration down to the penny, because they know what they paid for the policies, and they know what the policies are worth when they mature. So there's no guesswork in this. You want something predictable that's going to grow. Believe me, that's what you want to do with your retirement account. Now, to me, that's the best advice I can give to people that are looking to grow their retirement account. This should be the first choice, which it is in my book.
Yeah.
And it is, truly. I cannot find anything that can compete with life settlements for growth and securities. And so that's the reason I'm talking to you today, because I know of all the people that I know, you're probably the most deserving.
Thank you. I saw, when I first started hearing about this several years ago, and then I saw some advertisements, but before the advertisements, I heard people giving talks, and it made me feel kind of negative about it, which I guess a lot of people feel about reverse mortgages when they first hear about it, because I didn't know. At first it was, let's take the insurance policies away from these poor people who can't afford it anymore. That's not what it is.
No.
It's, let's make the best use. These people have put money into this for years. They have no need for it anymore. Their kids, like I saw in one Coventry Direct thing, their kids are in their 40s now. They don't need that. There's plenty of money. They could sell part of it or all of it and get some of the money that they've put in. So they have actually used their insurance as an investment, and now they're seeing a return on that investment. So for those people that want it, you as an investor are helping those retired people to get the return back on their own investment.
That is correct.
And the investors, on the other hand, are enriching their own futures at the same time.
That is correct. So it's a win-win situation. And you're correct. When people have been paying into a life insurance policy, let's say 20, 30 years, they have a big investment.
Yeah.
And if they go back to their insurance company and they ask the insurance company, I don't need this anymore, let me cash out, what will you give me for it? Normally, it is not a big figure. It might be 10, 20,000, something like that. With the company that I represent, which is, I just mentioned the name, okay, Kaplan, right. They're on TV.
Right.
They buy life insurance policies. They pay you cash. Normally, 400% of what your own life insurance company will pay you. It's a huge win for the people that own those policies. And you know what happens to your life insurance policy as you get older? Those premiums go up and up and up. have you ever stopped to think what you could do with that money if you didn't have to pay that policy?
Right.
You could take a trip around the world or a lot of other things, because in place of that, in place of paying premiums, Coventry Direct is going to write you a check. And if you did, as you mentioned a little while ago, if you want to keep a portion of your policy, for example, some people want to keep it, but they don't want to make any premium payments anymore, we will take care of that for you, and you have enough money left, maybe $40,000, $50,000, to cover your last expenses when you die, which is your burial. You've got enough money to take care of that when you die. But to have $1 million when you die, please tell me what that's worth to you. When you die, it is all over. You cannot take it with you. Your children don't need it. You're paying big premiums to keep it alive, but you're not going to be alive when that policy does mature. That's else consider an investment to help them in their future retirement. It's a win-win side.
Absolutely. And when it comes to like the investor themselves, the first, again, I had to go through a learning curve, and I still have a long way to go. But at first I thought, okay, I'm going to buy you or a portion of your life insurance. Now I'm looking at you figuring, well, maybe you got a day or two, then you're going to earn your wings and kick off.
Right.
But, it turns out that you keep living forever. You know how you are. You're pretty obstinate, and you're not going to kick off if you don't have to. So, it's like my money is gone forever waiting for you. But that's not how it really works, is it? You buy into a group of policies, correct? Or show us a little how that works. Then you don't wait for some person to die before anything happens. You are kind of continuous. It's not every day, but you're on a conveyor belt where you're being given returns, and those returns, if you're smart, you'll keep putting back into the project.
That's correct, for retirement. But you're absolutely correct. A portfolio of life insurance policies might contain 8 or 9 policies of various sizes. Some could be 5 million, one could be 1 million. Different things of different people, different maturities. You could have a male age 80 with a life expectancy of 2 years, and he could live 3 years. And then you have somebody that's 78, they say life expectancy is 8 years. Because when you buy into a portfolio, you get all the information about the portfolio you're buying into. Now, before we buy the policies, we know to the best of our ability what the life expectancy is for every policy that's in there. Now, it's not a perfect science, but we check with the medical benefit from their current carrier, then we check with our own investigators. So the likelihood of it being off by 10 years is not going to be that way. You might be off a year or two. You could be into what we refer to as a 3 to 5 year investment. And the one that's maybe expected to live 5 years, they die the first year. And by the way, no matter when you collect, for example, a typical portfolio pays you $1.64 for every $1 invested, whether the person dies the first year or the 5th year. The number is set in stone. Why? I tell you.
Oh, okay. I wondered about that too. I didn't know exactly how to put it, but yeah, you're answering that.
Yeah, it's a multiplication with numbers that are known. The company that put together the portfolio, they bought the policies from Covenant or some other source. They know what the life expectancy is. They're building the portfolio upon knowns, not unknowns. So they're with greater certainty than the stock market. You know how that investment is going to be. Now, why do we have to know that? Because remember, we have to pay the premium on all the insurance policies in the portfolio.
Because you have to keep them or guarantee to the investors they are still going to be enforced.
It goes into an escrow account. And how do we figure the amount? Well, we know the premiums, okay? We can multiply that, but we also add 2 years. So if we have a policy in there, a life expectancy of a senior, maybe 80 years old, life expectancy 2 years, we'll go 2 years plus 2 years. And then we'll double up. on the premiums, because the one thing we never want to happen is we don't have enough premiums left to pay for that last policy. Okay, that's the reason we put in extra. And another benefit, remember, the person that died first, that we thought would live 4 years, we've got 3-4 years of premium now, because we have a policy we don't have to pay on that anymore. That stays in the escrow account. So we normally have excess money, and a couple of the companies that I represent, one of them gives you any premiums that are left in that escrow. They divide that amongst the investors, which is a little bonus. Okay, it's a bonus. That's all it is. So, you know, it's well put together. It is not anything that's new. If you go back in time, if you recall, I don't know if it's 20 years ago, we had the AIDS epidemic, and people, they kind of figured out the value of a life insurance policy, because people that had AIDS, they wanted to pay for a cure. They wanted to live. The one thing they could sell immediately was their life insurance policy, because their life expectancy was not going to be that great, because it was not an instant cure. But they wanted money. They could sell their life insurance policy. By the way, when you sell a life insurance policy, it's like buying a piece of property. There's a lot of paperwork involved, and everybody involved in that life insurance policy has to sign off, so that no one comes back at the end like a son or a daughter or aunt and uncle and said, remember, you promised me a portion of your life insurance. Everybody signs off. There's nobody that hasn't given up on it.
So there's not going to be any lawsuits later?
No, everyone signs off. There will be no litigation. And somebody.
One thing that is different than real estate, some real estate can go down in value.
Yes. And down a hill.
And this is not going to.
No, yeah. That property slips down the hill, it's really not worth as much as it was.
Speaking of earthquakes, which we talked about earlier, but go ahead and let's interrupt and let you give information about yourself again.
Okay. I'm male. 79. You could tell that, didn't you? I'm 79 years old, and I was born on July the 4th. And if you don't believe me, ask my parents. Both of them, unfortunately, are deceased. But it is a true statement. You have to ask my sister. July the 4th. And I invite everybody listening to your station to join me on my birthday, next July 4th, if they will.
All right.
Now, my phone number, just for verification purposes, it'll be the same as the last one. It's still the 949 area code, and it's 910-6028.
And it's okay if they just call and ask you for an invitation to your birthday party, right?
Absolutely. I guarantee you some fireworks, a blanket on the ground to watch the fireworks, whatever.
Go ahead and give it another time, and your website.
Okay, the website is this, number1investment.com. It's just the one, it's not ONE. So you put number1investment.com. That'll take you to my pictures, the pictures of my daughter, the pictures of my aunt and uncle. But more importantly, there's something there about life settlements as well that you might enjoy, and a place for you to have. There's a phone number that happens to be the same number I just gave you, 949-910-6028. And if you call me, I guarantee you an invitation to my birthday party. How's that?
All right. Done.
If you show up, I got an extra piece of cake, because I know you're still going to be on that diet.
Well, we're going to hire some buses to bring people over.
Well, we can do that. And some go-karts.
Yeah?
Yeah. And some bicycles and you name it. However you can get there, it'll be a good time, because the fireworks are very expensive.
So you need to make some money.
We got to clear out. We got to clear out the closet. We got fireworks we haven't even used yet. Just because enough people don't show up, so we don't waste the money.
Okay, good.
Over to next year.
You keep it in your closet or your escrow account, your escrow closet, right? And you spread it out. You
should know about the closet. Before you went on the air, your mechanic or whoever's monitoring this whole situation, he couldn't find you.
And that's our engineer, Sean.
Your engineer found you in the closet, and the only reason you were in the closet is because you had a tie on and got caught in the door. And otherwise, you'd have been here on time.
That's right. I'm trying to think the last time I wore a tie. Can't think of that. I can't. Maybe 20 years?
Well, that was the last time you got stuck in the closet.
I've got plenty of ties. I've got suits, too, believe it or not.
Well, I wouldn't believe it, really. And
there are plenty of suits, actually.
If you still own any suits and they're in your closet,
I don't fit them, I know.
If not, that's what I was going to say. And you're on a lose weight program, okay? Anyway, I don't know what else I can say to you about life settlements.
You have some other books also, right? Do you have them handy?
The number one investment in real estate is in one of my books. And I made a business out of that for many years. The number one investment in real estate is still in that book. And I wouldn't not change a thing because everything I put in that book was very, very specific as to what property you should buy, where you should buy. Very complete, because I wrote it for the person that didn't own any property, investment property. They owned their home, but they didn't own any investment property. So if this is your first time, I'm going to show you how to do it and not make a mistake. So it's a lot of detail.
Now, what's the name of that book again?
Well, it's called The Incredible Investment Book, and on subtitle, The Number One Way to Invest in the Number One Investment in America.
No, I have this one.
Well, on my...
and then there's another one, The Incredible Investment Book, is being shown on... only you, Chuck, can see this right now.
Yes, sir.
Because on the air, we're showing this one on the air right now. But there's there's another one that shows up, and you'll see.
Okay. Well, they're all on my website, so people can go to my website and buy them. Yeah. And if they buy them from me, as opposed to Amazon or Barnes & Noble, they buy from me, I will sign the book. And if I sign that book, it's worth $1.25 more on Amazon than if I didn't sign it.
All right, $1.25.
$1.25, absolutely. So you can buy.
Everybody listening to this show right now just made $1.25
if they bought my book.
Right. So it's a money-making, and this is a money-making enterprise. Just listening.
It was intended to be. That was intended to be a moneymaker. I've had my thoughts about that, but anyway, I know this, and I'm going to tell you this for the last time today, probably. If you invest in life settlements in your retirement account, you will never, ever forget me. When you retire someday, you're actually going to have a whole bunch of money in there because you're not going to lose money and you're going to earn 12%, or in that category, you can't predict 100% when. Yeah. So therefore, remember me for the good advice that I gave to you on this program. And the man who made it possible is, I forget your name. What's your name?
No, you are the one that made it possible.
No, but you're the one on the air. You're the one that invited me because you wanted someone to fill the time, and I was anxious to do that.
And I'm glad that you did, okay? And I really, really appreciate you taking the time to teach us, okay? Or give us the kind of information that now we understand, and anything more we need to just take it upon ourselves to research. And part of that research is getting a hold of you.
Which is possible if they know you.
Yeah, well, that too.
I mean,
and you can always get a hold of, or if you didn't write down the information for Chuck's contact, just contact me. You do know how to get a hold of me. I've said it till I'm, till I lost my voice, which is about what I'm doing.
Even your wife knows how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, so call me, email me. Remember, bestloantoday@gmail.com. And everybody have a great, great weekend. Thanks again, Chuck. And remember, Kaplan will be here on the same corner in front of the cigar store next week.
Except you like.
You've been listening to the Educated Retirement Show with Jay Kaplan. Tune in every Friday at 3 p.m. to learn more about your mortgage and reverse mortgages.